Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kara here with another Guardian Tales video, and in today's video I want to talk about male knight or female knight depending on who you chose in the beginning of the game. I think a lot of people don't really know, if they're just starting out with this game, how good this character is, because every game has their own starting hero. Are these characters you're actually going to invest in? Are these characters that you should just try to move off of almost immediately? I just want to make it clear in like its own separate video on how much you should actually invest in male knight here, because you're guaranteed to get them. I think a lot of people are, it takes a bit to figure out the game when you actually do pulls. You don't really know how good the character you pulled for is. So I'm just going to kind of lay out exactly my opinion as an in-game player, how good male knight is, how much I personally use male knight in this game, some of the pros and cons of actually using him, and how far I would actually level him up. So before we get in this video, if we could get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. Also subscribe to the channel for more Guardian Tales content. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video here. So first thing is going to be, you start with the game with him. You're always going to get him. Everyone gets this character. Let's actually talk about his base stats. Let's talk about his move set first, and we can kind of get a better idea how he stacks up. So the first thing is, we'll kind of give you some kind of perspective on just how good he is, how good his stats are compared to other characters, where he kind of lines up. So he's a basic character, and as you're going to find out later on in the story, the actual hard parts of the story are all dark characters. So his typing is really not good for clearing some of the harder parts of in-game content. But he has a couple unique things going for him, whereas compatible equipment. So he can equip one-handed sword, shield, two-handed sword, bow, rifle, and accessory, and that is very rare. There's only one other character that has that much, and it's Future Knight, which is a unique hero, but not many people can do this. And so Master Weapons is his normal attacks. We can equip all these different things, and his skill attack here is actually pretty good. It's pretty hard, where it summons the champion sword to deal 415% of DPS to enemies. And then his special ability is actually very unique, where it's when taking light type damage, defense increases by 25% for 10 seconds. In story quests, damage inflicted by enemies is reduced by 25%. And I think that's actually really clutch, especially if you're equipping him with a shield. He's going to be very durable for you in story. It might change a bit, especially later when you're facing dark enemies. I think it's World 7 where there's going to be a dark boss that's actually kind of tough, and his typing's going to kind of let him down there. And then World 10 and 11 are all dark as well. And I believe, so just keep that in mind when using the character here. And for most people, they're not going to, if they're questioning to use male knight, they're not really going to have the exclusive weapon. This is going to be harder to get. It is a 4-star natural, one of these exclusive weapons, so it's not nearly as hard to get as the green ones, but these other ones are actually pretty hard to get. And what it does is, for female or male knight only, for each enemy hit, summons a lightning bolt with high chance that deals an additional 15% DPS damage. So it's still good, but the real benefit you're going to be getting from this character is the versatility of being able to use whatever weapons he can. I mean, he is limited. It's not like he can use everything, but what he can use is, it's pretty high. So you can be putting him in two-handers, you can put him in bows if you need ranged. There's certain things in the game that you're going to be needing to clear with like either specific type of bows or specific, baskets, and he's not going to really be able to do that for you from a basket perspective. But when it comes to a lot of other scenarios, depending on what you actually pulled weapon-wise, he's going to be pretty clutch in that sense. So that's one of the main benefits of this guy. And also, you just get him, you don't have to worry about it. But let me talk about exactly how much I would actually want to invest in this character. And I think a lot of it comes down to, first, before we get into exactly how much I would invest in this character, I think it's going to depend on which characters you're actually farming. Because for the most part, you're not going to want to invest in this guy too much. Because he's just not that good. When it comes to in-game content, he's never in Arena, he's never in Coliseum, you never really see him in raiding. Very niche cases, I've seen him used as a 4th option because of his party buff, where he increases basic attack in certain basic teams. The 50% basic attack buff, but at this point, he's pretty much never used there. That's just kind of like a nice thing to have if people decided to invest in him. So in the in-game, he's not used, period. In this game. So, but it doesn't mean he's bad, and it doesn't mean he's not going to be able to help you. I think he's going to be able to help people more so if the unique hero you end up getting is a basic hero, because I think a lot of the decisions your account makes are based on your initial pulls and which unique hero you end up pulling. All the way down to Eleanor here, all these heroes, all of them are very good in their own right. Some are going to be top tier, some of them going to be kind of mid tier, some might not be used that much, but they're all still infinitely better than male or female knight. But the odds of you actually still using your male knight or female knight for an extended period of time are really going to come down to if you end up pulling a basic hero. And a lot of these basic heroes are actually pretty good. So Future Knight, Nari, Sohi, Eva, Lon even, Lorraine as a natural 2-star with her exclusive weapons actually pretty good. Ranpang with, she's a tank that's pretty solid for a while there. Amy's actually pretty good now with her new exclusive weapon. If I was doing the game over again and just so happened to have Amy plus her exclusive weapon, because all these 2-star heroes, I believe every single 2-star hero in the game you can get through story. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure almost all of them you will eventually be able to get guaranteed, so you don't have to worry about gacha on getting the natural 2-stars. The gacha is going to be down to the exclusive weapon. But Lorraine, for example, is like a mediocre healer, but she comes amazing as a healer with her exclusive weapon. So there's a little RNG there associated with it, but there's a lot of good basic heroes here. And the reason why you're going to, especially in the beginning of the game, you're going to want to have a combination of one unique hero and 2-star heroes around it in the same type is it's because of how you farm up and level up the star levels for those heroes. And so this has been talked about a ton. It's it's mono teams, so you go mono basic or mono dark. And the reason why you do that is because if you look at here, I believe, let's find basic. Yeah, so we have basic right here. So you change the reward settings, so you have to pick one unique hero. So like let's say you pulled Sohi, then you're going to need to choose 4 out of these heroes here to actually farm the Evo stones for. But when you're doing that, you're going to get way more Evo stones for the 2-stars than you are the natural 3-stars. So there's going to be a wall in the game for you where you're going to have a 4-star unique 3-star character, but you're going to have fully maxed natural 2-star heroes, and that's going to come with a lot of your progression. So I think male knight, female knight is going to be best served in that scenario where you're boosting up your unique hero based on his party buff that he just naturally has. Actually investing into it is probably another story here. Let's actually look at how hard it is to get to that point where you can actually really boost it up. But you can actually check this here. It's actually kind of nice. So his base stats, I just want to kind of go over this really quick. They're not great, but they're not terrible either. His defense, the 133 defense is a little low looking, but if you put him with a shield, it's actually going to be pretty high. The base attack is a little lower than what you would like out of a unique hero. I know he's a natural 2-star, but unique heroes have, for his role, about like 800-ish, like 850 attack, to give you an idea that it's actually significantly lower. And then his party buff, 46% basic attack versus the unique version of it, which would be 50%. But if we look at his awakening here, and if we go down to 4-star, see, even if you have him fully limit broken, or even if you have him fully awakened, you're only giving 30% basic attack boost. But if you go no awakening, because the awakening, this stuff is so high value that I just want to evolve him. I don't want to actually do this if I could dodge it. And if we look at him, he's still at 5-star, no awakening ability, 23% basic attack. That's actually pretty good as your kind of side character. But if we go even 4-star, he's giving 23% basic attack without any awakening ability, and then we include it 30%, and then we include it here. That's when he can actually get the 46. But this is going to take a lot of resources on your side character. You're not going to use too much anyway. So just keep that in mind. But as a hero, I think a lot of people might watch this video after them playing game a little bit. Like, usually people don't watch these videos before they start the game. Usually it's someone watching this and kind of hoping that the investments that they made were either good or not that bad. And I think it's not a terrible investment, especially early. If you're doing this later on in the game when you've already cleared the campaign and stuff like that, that was just objectively a bad thing. If you're trying to do it for a meme, or you're trying to do that, I just can't think of any part of the game content mid to late game that actually you can use them. There is events that roll around where you get points based on you build your team. You get 50% boost in points on the new hero that is summoned, and then you get 20% boost for specific heroes that you have in your party, and he's always going to be one of those heroes at 20% boost. So he does have use there. It would save you a lot of, it's going to give you a lot more rewards for having him there, giving that extra boost in stats. So you just throw him in there. So having him kind of leveled up is kind of nice in that scenario, especially early when those stages are actually really hard. In my situation, when you're fully maxed up, you can just solo it essentially with one good character. Overall, I just wanted to give a breakdown of exactly how I look at this character. I haven't really touched him since the level cap was level 66. Me personally, my first character I really invested into, so technically the first character was Arabelle, but Arabelle at the time wasn't really good in arena, and I ended up pulling Nari with her exclusive weapon. So I ended up awakening Stone, resetting Arabelle, and went Nari. And so once I went Nari as my main character, then I made a team of Nari. Here, let's actually go here. We went Nari. So I went Nari, Ranpang, and then I want to say I had Lawn at the time, but I didn't really use her too much. It was mainly just about this team here. I just wanted to have people like, did I use Lawn? And then I would just splash in other characters in here. I want to say I had Lawn in here. I don't really remember specifically, especially in the beginning, but the whole point of this was to have Nari be the main focus, put all the resources on her, try to get her to 5-star, and then these guys would just trickle down. And if I couldn't clear content, another way to progress when you're stuck at 4-star here is to max these characters, make them stronger, and then try to push content that way. And then we got to remember, back in the day, a lot of these things were a lot harder. Gold dungeon was almost 100% less, or 75% less. Getting Evo stones took a lot longer, and so it was kind of made more sense to invest in these characters to try to push your way through. Also in the beginning of the game, all it took was just one character fully maxed to really be competitive in like platinum, whereas nowadays every single person in some of the lowest ranks are all fully max limit broken. So kind of one of the benefits of being a person that started in the beginning, but at the same time, I just want to kind of give you that frame of reference on my decision making, especially at that time frame, why I was doing this. But that's kind of how a good way to progress with these characters. And so I actually got a decent amount of use out of them. I kind of awakened them up a decent amount. I'm trying to progress through like Orbital Lift, and Camazone didn't exist at the time, but those were the things that I was thinking of at the time when I was trying to progress, like force myself through harder parts of content, because we didn't have World 10. We didn't have, like, the campaign was, as I think, stopped at World 8. We didn't have World 9 yet. So there was a lot of it was a long grind to actually progress in this game until some of the more story modes came out, and then Camazone came out, and we have co-op, and we have so many more ways to progress in this game. But at the time, these mono teams, you're going to be sticking with them for a long time, and then I used him quite a bit. I think he's actually a pretty solid addition in the early to mid game for a basic team like this. And nowadays they have even better basic characters you can really build your team around too, in Sohi and in Future Knight. I would say those are just better characters to help with campaign, because I really wasn't a fan of Nari for the most part. I kind of ended up getting her right when you start to get only dark teams, so I think Arabelle would have been a better character to stick around with, but the amount of benefits I got from Arena, especially at the time, were massive, so I didn't regret the choice. But if I were to do it again, I think Arabelle's, and then this is pre-buff Arabelle, so that's another thing to consider too. It's just, I hope all these, this kind of info dump on how I'm looking at Male and Future Knight help out on your decision making when it comes to investing in this guy. I think if you end up going another character, like let's say you go an all light team, or you go, any other team besides basic, I think there's a lot of other good natural 2-stars to complement whatever unique character you're going to be leveling in, and you not necessarily need to have Male Knight for that. But there is a couple benefits of him where he's tankier in campaign missions, and he's very versatile with what weapons he has. So depending where you're at, it's not like he's completely worthless. It's just eventually he's going to get phased out, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he gets phased out for you. And the timing of that can be very subjective based on how much you're spending, how lucky you are on your pulls, which characters you did pull, stuff like that. So hopefully this kind of cleared up my thought process on just how good male/female Knight is. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.